They want war. Crying babies looking for food. Starvation, the recipe. People subdued when the people you trust got it in for you. Deceit is the word of the day in every clue. Don't let it go. It's from the days of old. Time is up, but some still do not know. Can I make up my mind? Is it worth the dime? Do I have to take a minute just to make it mine? Life's never fair, but don't listen to the TV. Go out and take a listen to the streets with the people in the slums and the homeless bums with degrees and degrees sitting under a tree. It's not easy in the world for the poor man, the one that brought you to reality. See, they don't want you to know about the black sheep, leaving 7 roads to the 12 families all around the globe with an ancient code. Is it really asking a lot to say a death old? Cause we sitting on the earth looking back at extinct, and I'm standing on some ground that's about to sink. I ain't scared for a minute, I ain't about to blink, but I documented for the world what I see and think. Feel we on the call and I feel we on the break. All Congress gonna do is waste paper and ink. Vote or die, you voted and you'll die. You can have it both ways, can't say it's a lie. You can march all you want, but they playing you wrong. They only understand war, it's the same old song. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. War, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. Like a lotus coming out of the mud with colors, I create envy in those with power but jealous. I unify the poor with my song, the hell with the others. Descended the way they treat indigenous brothers, cause I understand we link forever. They try to hate us even though that we keep it together. I'm not talking about controlling the air or the weather, I'm talking about maintaining the truth, the high endeavor. A rebel drops bombs in the midst of trouble. The free world counterattack and now there's double, but nature gets the shit in the way to settle. If you stop the machines for a minute you might hear, but they won't cause the TV's whisper in the ear. And capitalism has eyes that don't tear, and they cloud up and get crazy and won't stare. And like an ab, it's hard to get an ass to listen. Living like this is like living in prison. It's hard to keep hope when you're living in prison. The spiritual thoughts, so yes, the mental prison. The outside, yes, it's got to get through. Something's gotta die, so something here can live. Your life is nothing if you got nothing to give. Keeping the spiritual, yes, disguised as religion. Controlling your mind, the mental prison. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. War, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war.
Check 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Hey, you know what? I think we in effect. Yo, welcome back, y'all. Welcome back. I had to. I decided, I want to come back and see if I can get enough folks in here to call up and let me know what shit is like where they are at. And I'm going to be a little minute. So I got like maybe 2 hours to do this in. And so I'm going to take my time, but I really want to see if I can get people, expats, that are in the EU or somewhere else outside of the US, and then also Americans inside of the US to call in, right? And let me know how shit is going on the ground in the US, because we could watch all the legacy media news clippings, and we could see independent news clippings. We could see that, and we know that it's rough, but you don't catch everything, right? So, it is what it is. There's enough to go around. And so, I just wanted to do that and see what was going on. But in the meantime, guess what happened? It turns out Minnesota got something to do with the Epstein files. Peep this shit. This is crazy.
Thank you for joining us tonight here on Fox 9 and streaming on Fox Local. My name is Tim Blotz, and new tonight, Fox 9 has dug through hundreds of pages of the newest release in the Jeffrey Epstein files. And what we've uncovered is that Epstein booked multiple flights for several women, both in and out of Minnesota, all during the course of several years.
Now check this out. You see that, right? Now, people was talking about Epstein wasn't in Michigan. He wasn't. He don't hang out there and all. But you know what? What you're going to find out now is that this guy was in a lot of places. Trump was in a lot of places. And yeah, it's worse than what people think. Like, this is a serious criminal trafficking ring. And, you know, I think the sad part about it is that you can say serious traffic. You could say cartel. Maybe the word cartel, trafficking, sex trafficking ring might be a better term instead of just, you know, trafficking ring, because people, for some reason, the fact that it's Trump, people can't imagine how broad this might have been. You see what I mean? They can't imagine the broad nature. They can't even imagine Trump being involved. Hey, a lot of people cannot imagine Trump being involved, which is the weirdest fucking thing, because he's an asshole. First of all, he lets you know he don't give a shit about you. First of all, he don't give a shit about women. Anyone who's a woman doesn't mean shit. The man is complete, utter misogynistic. So, I mean, why would it be so hard? But I think that speaks to the heart of how a lot of men feel in the United States of America. Like, how misogyny is maybe okay, so they don't see the signs of it. They don't know the depths of how far it could be. You know, just treating women like they ain't shit might not be as bad as sex trafficking. You know what I'm saying? It's not the same thing. You know, but listen, me myself, I could read between the lines. I could do the inductive reasoning, and I could see from the beginning that this shit has larger implications, way bigger implications than what people might be able to imagine. And I said, if you have a good imagination, you can imagine, just based on the facts, how big this is and how in depth it is, and you know, in terms of how problematic it could be. Then there was a lot of people that said, no, this can't really be blackmail. This can't really be espionage. And if you don't attach it only to the Clintons, then it doesn't count. You can't talk about Vladimir Putin and blackmailing the president of the United States, treason of the president of the United States. You can't go that high up. Only if it's Clinton. Only if it's Clinton can you go that high up. Only if it's Hillary drinking baby blood on Epstein Island can you go that high up. But you can't put those dots together. And these are people that are in serious denial. So now you found out that, as a matter of fact, let me just pop over here real quick and see, where the hell is Michigan at? I mean, where is Minnesota at? Just to remind people where it is. Because sometimes people forget. People easily forget. This is Minnesota. You see this right here? Hold on. What the hell? Come on. This is Minnesota right here. You see that? Minnesota is on the Canadian border. You see what I mean? It borders Ontario. You see? Let me zoom in a little bit more for people that don't know. So, you see, this is Minnesota, right? That's Minnesota. So, if Epstein could be rocking around Minnesota, right, which you could see it's part of the Great Lakes too. The Great Lakes kind of tip into that area, right, at the tip of Minnesota, right? But this is Michigan. So Michigan is also in the Midwest. It's in the North Midwest. Surprise, surprise, right? Epstein was also said to be in the Midwest where? Somewhere else in, what is it, New Mexico down here? You know, this is the more like the Pacific Midwest, right? But the Midwest is one of the stomping grounds, flat out. And so let's go back and just peep what they're saying here.
Leon Purvis joins us. And Leon, run down the timeline for us tonight.
Well, Tim, what we know is from a series of emails starting in May of 2009 through January of 2015. The files indicate Epstein booked and paid for flights to New York City, Palm Beach, Florida, Paris, and Epstein's ranch in New Mexico. At least 4 women were referenced as traveling either to or from Minnesota.
Yeah, that's a good question. Minnesota, somewhere in Minnesota.
We are not naming these women out of respect for their privacy. The flights originated from Minneapolis and Duluth. One was a $4,000 flight from Duluth to Paris in 2010. The woman involved appear to be in Epstein's inner circle. The most recent email we found comes from January of 2015. Epstein's accountant asked, when did a Jane Doe fly to the island? The accountant stated that the woman woman wasn't there for Christmas or for New Year's, and that no travel was booked except to Minnesota for Christmas. This is notable because Epstein's Island has been reportedly known for its alleged use as a base of operations for underage sex trafficking, and it led to his arrest in July of 2019. Right. He died in his jail cell a month later. His associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, was found guilty of federal child sex trafficking and other offenses in connection to Epstein. The new files also reveal Epstein traveled to Minnesota at least once himself. A 2015 email included in the files contains an itinerary for a visit to Mayo Clinic in Rochester.
All right, so for folks that don't know, obviously there's a lot of activity going on in Minnesota, but Trump and also Epstein have been known to travel in that circle. I don't know what it is up there. Maybe it's the Great Lakes. Maybe it's something like that. Who knows? Maybe there's some other activity. I mean, you could see they were doing parties. They were doing casinos in different areas. I'm going to pull up a list. I don't know if it was casinos in the Midwest, but I'm going to pull up a list. If you look, but check this out now.
Look at the DOJ. They announced, they released 3 million pages. It's like this is all they're supposed to be doing. And frankly, the DOJ, I think, should just say, we have other things to do.
Donald Trump openly calling for the Department of Justice to get back to his agenda in the wake of the latest release of the Epstein files. And a large part of that agenda, as we've seen, is his revenge tour against his perceived political enemies. Among the targets are the 6 members of Congress who posted a video urging members of the military and the intelligence community to refuse illegal orders and stand up for the Constitution, which is actually what the law prescribes. And of course, Trump didn't like that. He accused the lawmakers of, quote, seditious behavior punishable by death.
It's got to be a point where people look at this from a, stop making excuses about it. It appears, I don't know how many folks out there agree. Hey, it's all on you. But it appears to me that a lot of people don't think that this is an attack on the United States. Not a lot of Americans yet. And obviously, that's something you wouldn't want to say over the internet because you could attract the wrong kind of people. You don't always want to let people know what you think. Most of the people out there that's going to do something about this, they're not going to be on the internet. They might listen to the internet, but they don't chat on the internet. I'm just saying that for real. And I know that very well myself because I know what I'm doing when I'm talking about it. You see what I mean? I know that, okay, well, I'm not in the U.S. I can talk about it. I can say exactly what I feel. You see what I mean? And it is what it is. But I know that folks on the inside of the U.S., if this was an attack, they probably be going around trying to identify groups with, anti-Trump sentiment, which is what they are doing. They've been saying they're doing. They've been trying to call it Antifa, when really it's just American citizens that want to uphold their First Amendment, Second Amendment, Third, Fourth, Fifth, Sixth, want to uphold the Bill of Rights, which the nation was founded on. You see what I'm saying? But they've turned that Bill of Rights into a terrorist organization. So if you believe in the Bill of Rights in the U.S. right now, you're basically considered a terrorist by this Justice Department.
Punishable by death. He put that out on his social media feed. And he reposted calls from supporters.
Yeah, get the fuck out of the U.S., man. Get out of the U.S. I had a conversation with with a homeboy over there, and I was just like, get out, man, because listen, it's only 2 things you really can do right now. If you ask me, get into survival mode, or get into survival mode is do whatever you got to do to plan for the long haul in the U.S., or leave and bypass this shit. Take a vacation, take a long vacation, because as it is right now, it appears that there's numerous Supreme Court justices have been named in the Epstein files. You see what I mean? And others suspected. Now, then there's also congressional members that have been mentioned. You see what I mean? If not in the Epstein files, mentioned by victims, that the FBI just doesn't consider valid enough, right? And then there's senators, you gotta, just wonder, has the power structure already been circumvented? Elon Musk is working on getting Grok into the Pentagon, the most funded military on earth. What is that all about? That's the same AI computer that creates child porn, which France is investigating right now. I think they raided Elon Musk's office in France like 2 days ago.
To hang those Democratic members. The Department of Justice has now opened investigations of those folks, including Senator Alyssa Slotkin of Michigan, a former CIA analyst, demanding that she comply with a voluntary interview. Today, Senator Slotkin rejected the DOJ's request to cooperate and is considering suing the administration.
Facts.
They are purposely using physical and legal intimidation to get me to shut up. But more importantly, they're using that intimidation to deter others from speaking out against their administration.
When I think about these victims, I'm looking at the chat. Tay, you say they were trafficking down south. Yeah, they were trafficking down south. In a lot of areas, people take for granted. They think it's just New York. They think it's just Palm Beach. No, if you listen to the victims, they will tell you they were in various different parts of the U.S. having big events, parties, and I know this can't sound too strange to a lot of people because think about this. There were people like, what's this guy who got sued for saying horrific things about the shooting and what was it called? What's this guy? He has a podcast. He's very well known. He's a right wing podcaster, Rush Limbaugh. He said this, he got sued by some shooting victims, and I forget the name of the place where it happened, but it was a school and a bunch of school children, young children got shot. Sandy Hook, right? He got sued for spreading lies about Sandy Hook, like $1 billion or something. But anyway, Rush Limbaugh, if you remember, this shouldn't be surprised. This thing about parties and sacrifices and blah, blah, blah. This shouldn't be a surprise to a lot of people because Rush Limbaugh used to talk about the Illuminati having parties in the Midwest and different in Niagara Falls. That's up in New York with all these little fancy parties where they would do sacrifices. And this is what he was spitting for years. So don't tell me you can't draw the connection. The trick of it is that it may not have been as spookified as he made it sound. It may not be about big owls and worshiping Baal and all of that shit. Maybe it was just about big parties and sex trafficking little kids and rich people. Maybe it was about a Russian honey pot. Maybe it was about that. Maybe it was about Epstein. Maybe it was about that with senators and lawmakers and judges all going in there to party together, share secrets, rich people, elite. Come on. Just think about it. That's exactly what he was describing, except he spookified it. He made it sound like it was, and these people always do that. They always try to connect it somehow to the left. That's what Rush Limbaugh tried to do. That's what they've been doing for decades in the U.S. But now it's here. It ain't spookified. It ain't just the left. It turns out to be a whole lot of right-wing people. And they have a policy and they have a belief. You see what I'm saying? So let's go.
The intimidation is the point, and I'm not going to go along with that.
Rush Limbaugh was a racist, hated Obama. You know what I'm saying? Put the dots together. You see what I'm saying, Maddie? You see what I'm saying? I'm not making this shit up. I don't even watch a lot of this spookified shit. I don't watch this shit. I don't even pay attention to it. But people used to always ask me, and I used to be like, is this the shit they thinking about? Like, what the fuck? But they used to have the owls and all that. Talk about the Illuminati and judges. They literally used to talk about that. Turns out they talking about themselves. They're talking about themselves. You see what I'm saying? That's crazy. And they've been doing that for years. And they were blaming Obama. Anything left. Anybody that thought you should have health care was going to be a part of the cabal. Anybody that thought you should have education was going to be the big old nasty owl cabal. Anybody that thought that a woman should have the right to control her body was going to be a part of the Illuminati. According to them, turns out, it looks like they were talking about themselves. It surely does.
Senator Alyssa Slotkin, a Democrat of Michigan, joins me now. Senator, good to see you. Thank you for being with us this evening.
Thanks for having me.
Can you lay out what the DOJ wants of you and what you've told them?
Well, first the FBI and then the Department of Justice, contacted us late last year and again right after Christmas break, wanting us to sit down for an interview and as part of an inquiry. And, I think it's hard not to interpret that, when the president of the United States tweets over a dozen times that you should be investigated, arrested, and ultimately hanged, that, it was a direct response to the commander in chief pushing that agenda. So obviously we had to hire lawyers, and you need to figure out a whole strategy. And we've been talking to the Department of Justice lawyers, but they kept pushing and kept coming for this interview. And we just made the decision. I'm not gonna just comply when something is so obviously an attempt to weaponize the federal government.
It's also not legally dubious ground. I mean, you and your fellow members of Congress who made that video, you didn't call on anyone to do anything unlawful.
Yeah, I mean, it was a 90-second video that simply restated existing law that if you're in the military, you have the responsibility to refuse.
Yo, do me a favor, click the like button, y'all, so more people can see the stream and the algorithm. I appreciate that.
Use illegal orders. That's part of the U.S. law.
Yes.
So, and it's all in the open. We didn't do anything undercover, and I talk about it openly. So, in a country that believes so firmly in freedom of speech, it seems a little crazy to most people I talk to, whether you're a Democrat or Republican. But I think they, like I said,
they don't believe in freedom of speech.
They really are using this
they only believe in freedom of speech when it comes to disinformation. They want to be able to spread as much disinformation as possible. And when you say you can't spread disinformation, they say you're against freedom of speech. That's what they say. But when you're spitting facts, then they don't want the First Amendment.
Legal intimidation, physical intimidation as well, but legal intimidation to sort of paper you over and get you to be quiet. And there were certainly smart people in December who were telling me, hey, just keep a low profile, sit on your hands, don't agitate, and hopefully this whole thing will go away. And, when your family's being physically threatened, you take a beat and you think about that. And so, over Christmas break, obviously, most people are not talking about news. I wasn't, doing anything political. And I came back, and January 5th or something, here comes another letter and another request for
Dylan, what's up?
For interview. So sitting on your hands and keeping a low profile actually doesn't help. It's the opposite. And so we just decided to go on offense and make them tap dance a little bit.
And hold on, let me read this. Let me see. Who said that? Rafi, I heard about that young child that was child pageant that ended up missing in the 1990s, right? No one knew what happened, but they said it's connected to Epstein. Right. Yep. That was seen in the hotel lobby saying, yes, exactly. I mean, yeah. But listen, it turns out that, you can never know how deep this really goes in terms of it. But I would say this. What always got me is people that use the most horrific concepts to nullify the most obvious things that are happening. That's my whole thing. I never say no crazy shit isn't happening. I'm saying just don't use the super, super crazy shit, to nullify all the other shit that's right out in people's faces that's coming out also. You know what I mean? But yeah, true. Them kids eating babies and shit like this. You never know.
Said that the DOJ should retain its records on this because you are prepared to put them on their back feet.
Yeah, I mean, technically, if we were keeping our options open for suing them for infringement of my constitutional rights. It's just freedom of speech. It's basic founding father stuff. So in line with the law, we asked them to retain those records. And I think it's important because, the Supreme Court has basically said, well, when a president is in the Oval Office, he can do almost anything. But they have no such immunity and no such permissions for the people who are doing the president's bidding. And I think it's important that people understand that there can be consequences when you use this political.
Right. Exactly. That's true. When you use there going to be consequences when everything is politicized, when the law is politicized, when it only sees party lines and then finds a crime. Right. And, and of course, the gaslighting theory is that this is what Biden and Kamala did and Biden did and Obama did for all those years and Clinton did for all those years against Republicans. OK, Well, that's very interesting, but that still doesn't mean you shouldn't deal with the Epstein files right here, right now, what comes out of it. It still doesn't mean you shouldn't believe the victims that are coming out right here, right now, all about it. You see what I mean? Like, just let the facts speak for themselves.
When you politicize the federal government and the justice system.
Yeah, and you don't have to actually be a PhD in history you don't even have to go back to Richard Nixon. There have been lots of examples of people who do president's bidding who don't get the protections of a president. There are a lot of enablers around this president.
I want to turn to another issue, what the president has been talking about in terms of elections. This is what he told NBC News' Tom Lamas about elections.
There are some areas.
Yeah, Michael, what state you from? Who's your healthcare provider, bro? How's it going with the healthcare in the state you live in
our country that
welcome to the chat.
They're extremely corrupt. They have very corrupt elections. Take a look at Detroit.
Now think about this. Let's spring over here. Let me just, you see, he's talking about elections now, right? Now check this out. Rush Limbaugh and all of them used to talk about this cabal. They used to talk about the elite, right? They used to talk about the Illuminati, the Masons. They used to talk about it all. They used to talk about spells and and doing these rituals, and they talked about it. Where were they saying some of this shit is going on? They were saying it's going on in upstate New York. You know what I'm saying? Up here, it's going on around there. They used to always say the kind of liberal states, look at what they're talking about. Trump is from the liberal state too. He's from New York City, right? But really, that's what they used to throw that out there. Here, you see what I'm talking about? They used to say upstate. It was all going on upstate. This and what did he say was going on? Right? They used to say, this shit is crazy. Yo, they used to say that. Let me see here. They used to say that there was a cabal. In a political sense, unelected bureaucrats. Epstein is an unelected bureaucrat, right? He's unelected. Who else is who else? Elon Musk, right? Entities, the swamp, right? Working to undermine domestic policy for him, the Masonic and secret society. That's literally what Rush Limbaugh and these right wingers have been talking about the whole time. Talk was often rhetorical tool to describe a permanent political class that operated behind the closed doors. This is what these motherfuckers involved with Epstein were concocting. It's a story. It's a story, but it's really them. They're talking about themselves. Look, and then to parallel it, right? The Epstein files were revealed, tangible network of high profile figures, right? You see what I mean? Similar to a cabal, right? Because it involved billionaires, politicians, right? The Epstein case was rooted in criminal sex trafficking and blackmail. So the only thing that's different is that instead of spookifying it, it's actually a real crime. It doesn't need to be described in a spookified sense, although you will see elements of this spooky shit, because when you look at Epstein Island, you see all this weird kooky shit going on. I mean, it's almost like his island is the place that damn Limbaugh was talking about. It's almost like that. It's really, I'm saying.
Take a look at Philadelphia.
And I never listened to Rush Limbaugh. I think I only listened to some other commentators talk about him and show you some of the clips he used to show. That's how I learned about him. I never watched this show once because I'm into shit right in front of my face and basic shit like what do people need? Do people need healthcare? Do people need education? Do people need a decent paying salary that where you could go to work 9 to 5, come home and pay the bills and live a regular life, a dignified life? Can you get that? I was never into this shit. But meanwhile, the billionaires, they got a whole nother lifestyle. The elite got a whole nother lifestyle. The aristocrats. Now, I'm not saying remove Obama. I'm not saying remove Clinton. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, where is Obama? Where is he? Where is he in all these things? Where is he at? And why not want them all to be exposed? Why not want them all to be exposed if they're in there? Like, I don't care who it is, but
there are a lot of enablers around this president.
I want to turn to another issue, what the president has been talking about in terms of elections. This is what he told NBC News' Tom Lamas about elections.
That's exactly what Trump said. Can we move on now? I'm tired of the Epstein files. I'm only, you're not in it 38,000 times.
There are some areas in our country that are extremely corrupt. They have very corrupt elections. Take a look at Detroit. Take a look.
I mean, yeah, exactly. What about the Clintons? That's what he's about to say that right now. What about the Clintons?
Look at Philadelphia. Take a look at Atlanta. If we need to put in federal controls as opposed to state controls, remember this.
So he's talking about the deep state. This motherfucker's talking about the deep state. What is he doing? What is he doing trying to stop elections? You see what I'm saying? What is he doing? What is Elon Musk doing trying to get Grok inside of the damn Department of Justice? I mean, inside of the Pentagon, right? What are they doing? Talk about deep state. I mean, I don't get it. You know, before they were all making it sound like someone else is trying to stop you from having power, stop you from having your guns, stop you from having your First Amendment. You know, now it's them.
Really an agent. They're really accumulating the votes for who wins an election. If they put in federal controls as opposed to state controls, remember this. They're really an agent.
You see, and this is where he does the gaslighting, because everybody knows that people are calling him and the people around him agents for Putin. The whole world is calling Trump an agent for Putin. Like flat out. People aren't holding back anymore. Country leaders aren't holding back anymore. And listen to the new word he enters into his language now. This is classic Trump. He hears what's out there and being said, then he implements it in his own language to gaslight everyone.
As opposed to state controls. Remember this. They're really an agent. They're really accumulating the votes for who wins an election. If they can't do it honestly and it can't be done properly and timely, then something else has to happen.
Now, who the hell said it couldn't be done properly and timely? And who's ever said that about a state election? Where's that happening at? What state is that happening in? You know, I don't get it. How fast was Trump named the president of the United States after the last election? How many days?
I was questioning with Tom Yamas of NBC. Yes or no, Senator, do you support elections becoming federalized, contrary to what the Constitution says?
No, that's a constitutional amendment, and elections are placed at the state level for a reason. I do strongly believe in voter ID. I think that's absolutely the right answer. Unfortunately, as you know, to implement that federally would require basically amending the Constitution, which, as you know, the bar for that is very high, from state legislatures to supermajority.
Listen. It was less than a day, right? It took less than a day to call the last presidential election. And listen to Trump. Listen to him. What is he talking about?
Some areas in our country that are extremely corrupt. They have very corrupt elections. Take a look at Detroit. Take a look at Philadelphia. Take a look at Atlanta. Now, these are the same election boards that are handling the presidential election also. It's not just the other federal elections. It's not just, you see what I'm saying? It's they have election board for each state. To put in federal controls as opposed to state controls. Remember this. They're really an agent. They're really accumulating the votes for who wins an election.
So he didn't accuse them last November 5th, right? 2024. I mean, not last, but the year before. No, he's not accusing them of doing a bad job when they announced him as the winner of the election in less than a day, right? They didn't accuse him. Pretty much people counted it. You know, the race was called once Trump secured Wisconsin, which pushed him over the 270 electoral mark. Let me see here. Now, let me see. How fast was Wisconsin called? You know, he's allowed to go out there and lie, and they don't check him in the news media. They should have checked him right there and asked him some questions about that. Look, the election was called for Donald Trump at 5:34 a.m. Okay, 4:34 a.m. local CT on Wednesday, November 6th. So that was the next day. That's less than 24 hours because Wisconsin polls closed at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Tuesday night. The call came roughly 8.5 hours after the polls closed. And you see him here capping. He's capping.
If they can't do it honestly and it can't be done properly and timely,
damn,
then something else has to happen.
I was questioning with Tom Llamas of NBC. Yes or no, Senator, do you support elections becoming federalized, contrary to what the Constitution says?
No, that's a constitutional amendment, and elections are placed at the state level.
Pizza guy, you there? You in Atlanta? Listen, go to the Discord. Go to my you see the link at the top of the page, y'all. Anybody that want to hop up, go ahead and hop up. You can leave me your WhatsApp on the Facebook page link here, right? The messenger on the Facebook page here. When you open the Facebook page, you'll go to Messenger and just send me a message, send me your WhatsApp number, and then we can exchange and you can hop up, or you can use the Discord link. Either way, it's up to you. But now I got the audio working, so when you call in, it's smooth sailing, y'all.
For a reason. I do strongly believe in voter ID. I think that's absolutely the right answer. Unfortunately, as you know, to implement that federally would require basically amending the Constitution, which, as you know, the bar for that is very high, from state legislatures to supermajorities in Congress. In our partisan age, it's highly unlikely that happens, as much as I wish it would. So I think we have to do everything we can to ensure election security at the federal level, and obviously work with states to make sure it's happening at the state level as well.
It's taken them a while, but Democrats are now on the front line of all of these fights, including the fight over funding the Department of Homeland Security. Yesterday, Schumer and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries sent their Republican counterparts a letter listing 10 Democratic demands for reforming ICE, demands that include prohibiting ICE agents from wearing masks, requiring agents to ID themselves, requiring agents to use body-worn cameras, and this, banning racial profiling. Quote, prohibit DHS officers from conducting stops, questioning and searches based on an individual's presence at certain locations, their job, their spoken language and accent, or their race and ethnicity. But polls show that voters are wary of Democrats, too. After a year of Trump's authoritarianism, many voters are asking, is the party in opposition really doing all it can to oppose him?
Yeah, pizza guy.
House Democrat.
The Discord link is at the top. It's pinned. You see that? It's pinned there. It's at the top of the stream. Let me pull this up so you can see it. You see it there? It's at the top of the stream there. You see that? Yeah, just click on the Discord link. And if not, you can see the letters here. If you got Discord already, then all you got to do is use that. But it should be able to open up. Yeah, you see it. Okay. Let's continue now. Let's see here.
Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries joins me now. Leader Jeffries, good to see you. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Great to see you.
Let's talk about these demands, the masks, the ID, but the racial profiling. As you note in the list of demands, that is in contravention of the Fourth Amendment, although the Supreme Court, in its ruling having to do with Los Angeles, did muddy those waters. It's in contravention of the Fifth Amendment, due process. It's in contravention of the 14th Amendment, equal protections. This shouldn't be that hard to get agreement on the fact that these basic things that ICE are doing are wrong and unconstitutional and unlawful.
Over the last...
let's see here. All right, is somebody popping up on did I see somebody on Discord? Okay, maybe not. Yeah, it's open, so y'all just hop up when you want. It's all good.
Well, that's exactly right. This shouldn't be that complicated for my Republican colleagues. Unfortunately, they continue to bend the knee to the Trump administration to try to unleash this extremism and brutality on the American people. Our view here, top line, is simple. Taxpayer dollars should be used to make life more affordable for everyday Americans, not brutalize or kill them. We know ICE is out of control and needs to be reined in, along with the other related agencies. Immigration enforcement should be fair, should be just, and it should be humane. And we've got to make sure that there are dramatic changes at DHS. And in the absence of that, there should not be a funding agreement that moves forward.
What kind of leverage do you have on that? Because if that funding agreement doesn't move forward, this is a DHS-specific funding agreement. Obviously, some employees will work and have to work without pay. DHS overwhelmingly has employees like that who have to stay at work. There's some FEMA.
Now, let me ask you, what do y'all think about that? You know, now they're getting really specific, so they're not funding the ICE part of it, right? They're holding that back. They got 2 weeks, a 2-week extension, and then if they don't get a deal that they're happy with, they're not going to fund it anymore, right? But ICE has been pre-funded a lot of money, more money than any other agency it has in a long time. But it appears as if they've spent it all, corruption and things like this. So there's not a lot of money I don't know why they're very wasteful. I mean, they got these people going around in hotels, hanging out in what kind of bullshit is this? It's like a permanent on the road operation where you stay at hotels. It's like, what is this? Why couldn't you just, I'm sorry. There's a million and trillion better ways to go about what Trump is trying to do. So you have to wonder if he wants to find illegal immigrants or what the deal is. But yeah. In any case, it should be fair. Let me see. It should be just. It should be humane. Yeah, exactly. It should just be humane. What the hell? I mean, they try to make it seem like the left is arguing, trying to tell people to break the law. No, we never been saying that. We just been saying do it so it makes sense and it's humane. Do it so it benefits the country, but also the people that, are illegal and not following the rules or following the laws. Of course, there has to be something done about that, but it's got to be done in a comprehensive way. Does anybody want murderers and rapists? No, actually, everyone on the left said we want murderers and rapists locked up. Very simple, and kicked out. We want bank robbers also locked up and kicked out too. It doesn't just have to be rapists and drug dealers. It could also be illegals that are in there doing money laundering. If you're doing money laundering, you could be kicked out. I mean, why isn't it that if you're let's say, how about if you're actually they try to make it seem like it's only media workers that are illegal immigrants. What if somebody has a desk job inside of a fucking corporation and they don't really have, I mean, is anybody checking these people? Is anybody checking for them? No. So if you could get away with all this and get all these benefits and be a poor, illegal, rapist, criminal, then why can't you be a plush person sitting in an office job getting away with it, getting health care benefits and, leeching off the taxpayer? I mean, seriously, you know what I'm saying? Like, they don't want any comprehensive, immigration reform, basically, Let me see here. It's another reason the elections need to be done differently. The amount of money that's wasted on elections. Yes, no, there needs to be campaign reform, and that way. And the reason why I say campaign reform, because that way we don't have to worry about one group of people that's abusing the system. We can just get everybody. You see what I mean? And that's a pattern that we tend to run into in the U.S. We like scapegoat people, and we don't do anything comprehensive just across the board to make sure the rules are the same for everybody. And when the rules are the same for everybody, then they just lift the limits off of it, which makes it unfair too. So they say, guess what? If you have $1 billion, throw all the money you want into it. But obviously everyone doesn't have $1 billion. Obviously everyone's interests don't lie with the billionaires, right? The public interests don't lie with the billionaires. Healthcare doesn't lie with the billionaires. They can protect themselves. They can build a wall. They can cut themselves off from the public. They can never get sick because they won't come across the public. They're guarded by military people. You know what I'm saying? Education, they don't need that. Their kids go to private school. They can pay for the best private schools anywhere on earth, and then come back and run the corporation. They don't need to have a goddamn thing to do with anybody else, the average American citizen. So their interests don't align with the public. So we need campaign reform because we need to make it fair for the average person to have some say, and they don't. The average person does not have say right now. In Europe, they're closer to having the average person have say way more. The average person has way more say outside of the U.S. in the Western world than they do inside of the U.S. And a lot of Americans feel that. A lot of Americans know it. I mean, Tay said that. Oh, let me open WhatsApp, by the way. Tay said that. Let me check the Facebook too. Tay said that she could taste the difference in the food in Europe. That it tastes different. Exactly, because there's not all these preservatives in the food. There's not even food coloring. They're not hip on. They want the food to look natural. So if you get a Dorito per se, right? The Dorito may not look all orange, but the Dorito tastes like a Dorito. You see what I mean? It tastes good. And I covered this subject like a year ago. I had some data that I pulled up and some testing, some comparisons about U.S. food and food in the EU, and had kids actually tasting the two different forms and saying that the EU food, the EU snacks taste better. And then they said that the U.S. snacks look better, but the EU snacks taste better. The U.S. Snacks are bright, but the EU snacks, the same version, same product made in the EU, tastes better. You see what I mean? And it's because of what's allowed to be put in it. I mean, and that's something that's got to be on the ballot too. But it can be on the ballot. But if we don't have a public, open conversation, nothing's going to be on the ballot this election coming up. If the conversations that people are having are just as basic as, I mean, I can understand save your country is one thing you need to do. Get it impeach is one thing that definitely needs to happen. But what happens next? You know, what's going to happen next? What should the rules be for everybody? What should the standards be for American citizens, regardless who is in power? I think we need to have that conversation, you know? Let me see here.
Activity there. There's some TSA activity. There's Coast Guard. How do you manage that situation if there's a so-called DHS shutdown?
Well, we support FEMA, of course. We support TSA. Hardworking agents who help keep us safe as we transit from one place to another via airplane. And we, of course, support the Coast Guard. Now, if we confront a situation where there's a DHS shutdown, it's because Republicans will basically have decided that they don't mind shutting down FEMA or Coast Guard or TSA.
Oh, I see pizza guys
they don't want ICE to be held accountable, and they don't want ICE to be forced to conduct themselves like every other law enforcement agency in the country. That's fundamentally what we're trying to achieve here, so that this type of violence and brutality and assault and extremism that we've seen is not unleashed on American citizens, on law-abiding immigrant families, and on the American people.
You have, at the moment, your Republican colleagues have a 3-vote lead in Congress. Right now, polls are closed in New Jersey in the House primary special election. Tom Malinowski seems to be in the lead at the moment. But the bottom line is that election is going to be on April 16th. It'll most likely be won by a Democrat. At that point, you've got a 3-vote lead from Republicans.
Trump is trying to run away from his problems.
All right, let me see here. Okay, let me see if I can get Pizza Guy up here, you know. Boom, I see him here, and he's in the chat on Discord. Let me see. How do I get him up here? He's here. Now let me take him. Speak messages. Let me see here. Can I add to server? No. Voice. Here we go. Is it this way? Oh, is it this one? Is it this one? Okay, invite to voice, right? So that's what I need to do. Check it out. Here we go. Sorry about that. Let me just, it's the first time I'm using Discord, so let me get it going here. Check it out. Come on. Yo, Pizza Guy, can you see me on Discord? I know you can see me because you just sent me a message. Okay, I'm in the waiting room now. Okay, let me see here. Maybe I didn't add him as a friend. Is that what I did? Maybe I didn't add him as a friend. Let me see something here. 2 seconds. I'm gonna get right back to you guys. I gotta get him in here real quick. Let's see here. 2 seconds. Yo, Pizza Guy, let me see something. Where is he at? Can you see me?
MAGA.
All right, hold on. Let me just see what Midas Touch got to say. I'm going to work out this thing with Pizza Guy real quick. 2 seconds.
Republicans are now officially blocking former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton from testifying publicly about Jeffrey Epstein, about the Epstein files, and answering any questions that the public may have for Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. Now, this follows Donald Trump and MAGA Republican Congressmember James Comer and all the other MAGA Republicans saying the Epstein files has nothing to do with Donald Trump. This is all about Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton. It's as though like we're all stupid, right? Like Donald Trump appears on the Epstein files over 38,000 times in 5,000 documents. And that's just in the partial release of Epstein files of 3 million documents. And there's at least 3 million other documents, which could be as many as 25 to 50 million pages that are missing. But look, the bottom line is that Bill Clinton says, you want to ask me any questions about it? I'm happy to speak about it. Hillary Clinton says, I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to know. You want to ask me questions about it? Let's do it. But let's do it in public in front of the entire world. And let's do it. Let's do a hearing on Epstein. You want to do it? We're ready to go. So you now have James Comer saying, actually, we're going to maybe do it in secret. We're not going to do it in public. Why would we do a public hearing? They think they're special. They think they get, no, it's not a matter of thinking they're special. What's in those files, James Comer, is absolutely vile and disgusting. The allegations, especially against Donald Trump and the cabal that's in the White House right now that you're a sycophant of, is disgusting. And I think it's laudable. We should praise people who want to go and testify under oath in public. Well, Donald Trump wants to avoid that. So here was James Comer last night going on state regime media, which calls itself Fox, saying, actually, we don't want to do Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton's deposition in public. We're going to do that in secret. And then maybe we'll release it when we say we want to release it. What the hell is this? Watch MAGA Republicans just utterly terrified here. Let's play this clip.
All right. She wants to tell you how to do your job. You're saying no.
No, look, she has moved the goalposts millions of times throughout this entire process, then fires out an email attacking me today, accusing me of moving the goalpost, and she's the one.
Hey, you here?
Hey.
Okay, oops.
Okay.
I meant to add Pizza Guy.
Oops.
I hit you up. Okay, let me try to see if I can find him here. Okay, let me let this rock.
Who's tried to move the goalpost again. She agreed to a standard deposition. The deposition will be made public. So what she's asking for is already going to happen. The deposition will be videoed. You'll have the audio and a transcript. Everyone in America will have access to it. Every deposition I've ever done in the 3 years I've been chairman of the House Oversight Committee, we have released the transcript and the video and the audio. So what she's asking for is already going to happen. But what she really wants, Sean, is a committee hearing. And everyone that's ever watched a committee hearing in Congress, including the one in the House this week with the Treasury Secretary, knows that committee hearings are more for entertainment than substance. The deposition is for substance. This is a serious investigation. The purpose of the investigation is to get justice for the victims and to figure out why the government failed the victims and who the bad guys were and if they can be held accountable. So this is about the victims. This isn't about the Clintons. The Clintons are trying to play the victim cards. The victims of Epstein are the victims, not the Clintons.
And then you have MAGA Mike Johnson like running and scurrying around through the halls of Congress when he's asked by Manu Raju and other Capitol Hill reporters. So why isn't Donald Trump going to sit down then? Don't you see how the MAGA Republican plan, though, just utterly backfired? They were going to try to make this about Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton. And Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton are like, okay, let's testify. Let's do it. Let's do it in public. Watch MAGA Mike for yourself. Play this clip.
Shouldn't Trump have to answer some questions too? He's been named more than 1,000 times in these documents.
The president submits to press inquiries every day.
Not under oath. Not under oath.
Not under oath, but he's asked the questions all the time and he answers them. We'll see where it goes.
And then we saw Donald Trump just utterly terrified. Donald Trump was saying, actually, it bothers me now.
All right, Pizza Guy, you should have this invite to join the stream, yo. Try to check it out.
I'm upset that they want to go after Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. That actually breaks my heart, right? That's what Donald Trump said 2 days ago to NBC. And then yesterday, Donald Trump's chief propagandist, Caroline Leavitt, parroted that. And then Trump had his other regime sycophants like Scott Jennings and other praising Bill Clinton because they're terrified that he's going to testify.
Oh, good looking out, Pizza Guy. Yo, come on in the stream. Either that or send me the WhatsApp. Go to the messenger if you can't come up in this one. Go to the messenger and I'll add you to Facebook Messenger and send me your WhatsApp, and I'll add you to the WhatsApp call.
Like, truthfully, and then Donald Trump's people are saying, well, then Donald Trump's got to testify. Watch Donald Trump say, it bothers me that somebody's going after Bill Clinton. What do you mean somebody? You are. You're the person, because you're trying to distract from the fact that you were Epstein's best friend. You flew on the plane over and over and over again, and that you're over these files 38,000 times. That's more references to Harry Potter than in the Harry Potter books. That's more references to Jesus in the Bible than you are in the Epstein files. Listen to what Donald Trump said when he's like, it bothers me that they want to go after Bill Clinton. Why would they do that? Here, play this clip.
NBC News broke the story today. I don't know if you saw it, that the
Yeah, Midas Touch is on fire, man. Oh, there you go. Okay, let's pull him up. You there, bro?
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome to the channel, man. And I just want to tell you, I really appreciate the support, man, and just joining in. It's not just about the gifts and all of that stuff. It's about real people, man. I'm flattered that folks really came out for my channel this year. You know what I mean? And get the point of us connecting the dots, no matter where we sitting at this moment. So I appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, I just gotta keep. It's tough because I work a lot, so.
Right. Oh,
I'm always
absolutely.
busy.
Yeah. Me too. No worries, man. Everybody. I mean, I'm actually doing the same thing. I work, and then I do these streams between that, and then when and then I do streams between when I'm dealing with my kids when they sleep. Then I might go live a little bit, this kind of stuff. But yeah, man, this is the life, man. We just everyday people trying to trying to share among each other, basically, so it is what it is. But you doing it though. You doing it, man. And but what's up? Tell me where you at? What state you in right now?
Right now I'm in Georgia and Atlanta.
There you go.
My mom's house.
Yes, Georgia. Yeah. Okay. I got some family down there too, man. Yeah. So what's it like down there right now in Georgia? I heard ICE came down there a minute ago, right? Did that?
You mean with the Koreans or
Well, there was the Koreans, and then it was other parts of Georgia, right? That ICE came to, something like that recently in the last maybe.
Yeah, I mean it was just dumb. Like they came to the Hyundai plant, I think it was, or Kia, and then they were just like racist, and they deported a bunch of people for no reason that were there to work. You know what I mean? But see, the thing was, it's not even if you're like illegal. It's about even if you're a green card or you're illegal, they're gonna deport you. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Which makes no sense. Like if people are here illegally on H-1B or on the green card or whatever, even tourist visa, whatever they came with, if they came here legally,
right?
They're just deporting them to like make a show out of it. You know what I mean? To like make an example. Like to. So, hey, look, we're in control type of thing. You know what I mean? So.
Right. Okay. That was your impression when you saw them, when you seen that. Did you see them?
Yeah, that's what
Okay. Go ahead.
I have seen ICE a lot of times before, but I always had good interactions with them. But this was like when, before. But now with all the stuff going on, it's just crazy because,
wow.
because I work in, so I drive semi trucks, and so I went to Mexico, I went to Canada many times, and I crossed the border.
Yeah, so you get around.
So I used to talk to Border Patrol and ICE all the time, in Texas, everywhere. So
right, it's just another thing. You're a citizen, so why should it be a big deal? Your interactions, right?
Exactly. So I never had any bad interactions with ICE. I only had good interactions with them, but this was before. But like after the second term of Trump. Like things definitely change, but
yeah, because now it seems what I reckon is that from what I see, it looks like instead of them waving you down calmly and politely, now they got their guns drawn. Stop this kind of activity.
But it's also like the racial profiling, like they try to find people. I think that's what's messed up is the profiling.
Okay.
Because you know what I mean, like they're going around Home Depot. And they're going to like places, like tiendas and all this. It's like, you can't just, that's wrong. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's pretty messed up. They're going to places where, like for instance, Hyundai plant, Kia plant, like, they should be at the border, at the airports. You know what I mean? Like
that was embarrassing. That was embarrassing, right?
Yeah, I mean that's crazy. Like, it just makes us look so backward, to other countries. It makes the U.S. look really bad, So
Well, look, I mean, how do you make a deal? Trump, from what I heard, it's Trump who made the deal with IKEA. It's part of his active policy to have them in the country in the first place, and then they just
I think it had something.
Yeah,
I think Trump owes a lot of money to a lot of people. So like Stephen Miller, I think, he might be that the whole ICE thing is probably his idea. Christy Noam, Greg Bovino.
Right.
I think that Trump, he needs money, so he's trying to grift, do whatever he can to get money.
Right.
So
Yeah, exactly.
maybe
Yeah.
Stephen Miller's like the real culprit, but at the same time, it just doesn't excuse it because at the same time he's president. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't excuse it. It's even worse. It's worse being the president because you're on the top. So if you're allowed to do this, that sends the signal that this is what a real American is supposed to be like. So if you want to emulate, if the president is supposed to be the person you want to be like, you know what I mean? The top, of your society, then everyone else is going to become like that. You see what I'm saying? And
Yeah, another thing I didn't like is the trade deals. He said 90 trade deals in 90 days.
Yeah.
But Biden had better trade deals and a better economy. So that's what made me angry because he lied to so many people, telling them he's going to get better trade deals with China and all this other stuff. But now we have a worse trade deal with China and worse trade deals with most countries, including Europe. So
Right.
yeah. And then they talking about he's going to get money from the tariffs, but all that money is going to like some offshore account. So that's really suspicious.
Yeah, he's grifting. He's grifting personally.
Yeah, and that's wrong, and I know why he's doing it. They're saying he's grifting because he needs money for the midterm. So,
Yeah. That's
it
what
is.
they say. But you know what? I mean, I don't know if it's money for the midterms, man. I mean, obviously it takes money. They want to throw a lot of money into it, but and maybe it is money. Maybe it's money. But we know they got a load of money. They got all the help on earth. They got, everyone, every enemy of the United States of America wants Trump to stay in power, basically. I mean,
Russia's just overjoyed that he's there. That's the other thing. He said he's going to stop the Ukraine war, and all he's done is help out Russia.
Yeah, exactly. All they done is help out Russia, and he's done everything. This thing with Greenland, it's so obvious. It's right out in there. If he didn't owe Vladimir Putin his life, basically, he would have no reason to even go after Greenland. But it's the perfect kind of distraction away from Ukraine. It makes them split up their energy, have to focus on two tasks at once. But I mean, not that the EU can't do that, not that NATO can't do that, or these other NATO members. They're skilled enough to be able to handle both. But it is kind of whack when you're screwing them over with trade. You're screwing, you're doing everything else backwards from what they would want. And
It's the Soviet connection. Like I didn't really notice this, but this is the Soviet connection. You know what I mean? Like his first wife and his wife now. It's like he's always. I think he's got ties with like the Russian mob or whatever. So
that's what they said. Look, they said that the Russian mob in Trump Tower. Trump lived on the top floor, and right under him, who had the next floor is Russian mob that had the floor right under him. That's what they say for many years, maybe a decade, right? And that tells you right there. So a mob. They do things criminal, obviously, right? So that means anybody coming in and out of there, they're going to be monitoring, following. They have the perfect opportunity to follow everyone that comes to your home, to your residence, including your kids, your wife. They know every single thing about you. They're going to be following you, and if you want to meet them, you're doing it inside in your own building. You don't even have to go outside. So if you want to hide your activities and dealings with them, they're inside of your own building that you own and secure. You know what I mean? I'm sorry because a lot of people will say what I'm saying. It's a stretch, prove it. This is the new thing for MAGA. Prove it. But they didn't prove none of that shit they were talking about, all the disinformation and all of that stuff that they talk every day of the week before Trump got power, But when you start putting the pieces together, they want you to prove it. Of course, we don't have all the average citizen is not going to have all the evidence in front of us, but we can use inductive reasoning, and we're not stupid. You see what I mean? Like we can see, like,
Yeah, but
I mean, go ahead. Yeah.
you've seen the approval ratings. I think there's only like two types of people that still are like MAGA, but you have obviously the the long-term Republicans. You have them, so the loyalists, and you have like you have people who are too stubborn to, they know that they were wrong, but they don't want to admit it. You know what I mean? So
Right. Yeah. That's true. Exactly. That's two type, right? The loyalists, and then the other ones that are kind of ashamed and they don't want to admit it, but they ain't gonna vote for Trump. They just don't want to say it.
and then there are some who buy into Stephen Miller's it's just flat out racist. I think that's what we got to call it. He's got like a supremacist agenda. So
right.
I mean, it's obvious. You know what I mean? But it's just, it makes no sense, because if you're gonna to get rid of the illegal immigrants or whatever, that's good. You know what I mean? But taking people who are here legally and deporting them, that's stupid. People who are on H-1B visas and you're taking their visa away.
Yeah.
Like, they're here illegally. So
yeah,
why are you taking their visa away? So, you know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to go after people who are here illegally. It's another thing to like profile like people who are naturalized citizens. He's deporting. People who are American citizens he's deporting. So it's like, and he wants to take away birthright citizenship. And that's one of the big cases in the Supreme Court. So it's like, so now you're going after birthright citizenship. So
yeah,
it's just like, yeah,
that is insane.
So what, right? Obama just went after like illegals. You know what I mean? He didn't go like, if you were here like acre baby whatever, then that's where the whole kids in cages thing came from. But that was Obama just followed the law.
Right.
He wasn't trying to like cause any problems. He trusted his the people in charge he had over that, and it wasn't like a big, thing.
Right.
But Trump's really weaponized, like they said, they would weaponize IS. He's using it like as his personal military, pretty much. So.
Right. Right. Yeah, exactly. Well, let me ask you this. Have you had any, have you seen any bad interactions, on the street, or what would have been, in terms of ICE and your contact with ICE, right? In the area where you are, you say you're in Georgia, right? Would have been outside of people being detained. Some people got detained in all of this, but have you seen them? In what other ways are they making life difficult? What other changes? Like, are businesses still opening and operating normally in Atlanta or in Georgia in general? Has local business been affected?
We'll leave in 10 minutes. Okay. Get ready.
Like I was saying, she's going to Pittsburgh to see my sisters. But yeah.
Oh, okay.
What I was saying was, but yeah, like I was driving semi trucks mostly like in Chicago and stuff. I think in places like Chicago or Atlanta, there's too much pushback, so we can't, nothing can really go on here. But in like somewhere like Minneapolis, like I was in Minnesota, it's just like weird what's going on there. I think Minneapolis, it's like not as big as Atlanta or Chicago. Like Chicago's like what, 8 million people. Atlanta's like what, 5-6 million people. Like you can't really do anything there. You know what I mean? But
right.
Minneapolis is what, like 1 or 2 million.
Right.
Maybe 3. So
right.
It's much easier to target than.
It's a much easier.
I mean,
target.
like.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Like Laredo, El Paso. It's just different stuff that's going on, and it's weird because it's not about stopping illegal people coming across the border. It's about deporting people who are here legally, even on visas. So it's like even on H1 or whatever, like people who are illegally naturalized status. Or even birthright. Yeah.
Oh right. Yeah.
So even tourists, like that one guy from Norway, they sent back because he had like a picture of JD Vance or something. So
that's just crazy. That is weird. Like, so you don't have the right to not like JD Vance. If you don't like JD Vance, you can't come to the U.S. What kind of bullshit is that?
Yeah, it's just like they weaponized it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's definitely different than it's ever been. But
that makes no sense.
I think in places. I think the important thing is like the midterms, you know what I mean? Because the midterms really need like a big swing to undo a lot of the stuff.
Right.
A lot of people are surprised.
But do you?
Because even like the most
go ahead.
anti,
Go ahead. Yep.
even the most anti-Trump people probably didn't think he was going to be like this bad. You know what I mean? So
Right. Yeah, that's true. I'm hoping that's what it is. But let me ask you this: when you say the midterms, do you get the suspicion that there's people out there trying to make people feel like voting doesn't make a difference?
sure, that's why they wanted me to feel helpless, but I think it's really just militarized. Like a lot of people who normally wouldn't vote are going to vote. So
right.
especially college kids. You get kids in college that he's just killed so many jobs. When you kill jobs like that, it really gets the college kids out. You know what I mean? So.
Oh wow, yeah, you made an excellent point right there. You made an excellent point. Yeah, exactly. I agree 100%. Yeah, when you the young people, yeah, the people that are about to enter the work market, they want jobs, and the people that just left college, they want jobs, and they don't want to see their hopes be destroyed just by a lunatic like Trump. And Trump's not educated, so Trump doesn't speak to people that have any type of education.
Yeah, I think it's just crazy, but I think that we'll just have to see what happens. But some people are saying that it could get to 60 for the Democrats in the Senate and like 261 or whatever. But even if it doesn't get to that, it's probably going to be really bad, you know what I mean? Because a lot of that one beautiful bill stuff is going to start kicking in next year.
Right.
And if it doesn't get repealed, then it's going to just tack on so much debt. Like we'll be over $40 trillion in debt. And not only that, our dollar has just plummeted in value. And you can only imagine that next year it's going to plummet. It's going to lose so much value.
And they
who knows what.
They're withholding the reports. The reports that are all they got like 4 reports that they have withheld that now they all been delayed till the 14th of this month, 10 days or.
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably see some hyperinflation, like you know what I mean. We'll probably see
so.
like some drinks, like maybe a bottle of water, be like $4 or $5.
I think
maybe
something, yeah, and that is so unfair to try to sell American people. Remember earlier they were like, everything is fine, the economy is fine, the economy, it's just the Democrats, it's the liberals, they're always doing this. Remember when they did that with Obama? They always just have this storyline, and then now that it's time to release the real data, they don't want to release it. And you saw how the stock market, I don't know if you follow the stock market, but the stock market yesterday responded to them not releasing. It doesn't know what to do. Nobody knows what to do in it.
Even if the stock market goes up because of inflation, of course it's going to go. The fact that it's not going comparable to inflation means that the economy is going down. You know, because we're having so much inflation each month, so like plus 2.5% or whatever. So the stock market should actually be going up in proportion to the inflation, which means that it's actually steady, but it's not going up as fast as the inflation. So that means it's actually going down. It's all smoke and mirrors. Like, oh, stock market is going up, but if you compare it to the inflation, it's not, because you know what I mean. And that's not even considering the fact that all that money that gets made has to transfer to the people who are working. You know what I mean, the working class, and that their salaries have to see that in order for the economy to stay steady. For people to spend the same amount of money to keep the economy afloat. So it's just,
bro, you were
really
speaking
bad.
facts. You speaking facts, and me and you, we got the same mindset on this, man. I appreciate you calling up, bro, and I appreciate the support, Pizza Guy. It's really a privilege, because a year ago I actually saw some of this in my mind. I really did want to do a channel, and I really wanted to have purpose in it. And when I actually meet people like you all, it lets me know I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, and I don't care how many people see the live, obviously I want people to see the live, but I'm still here for just the few. At any time, I'm going to be doing this conversation until all of this shit is clear, my friend. So I appreciate you, man, 100%.
I appreciate you too, via media. I think a lot of stuff you do is good, man. I'm gonna go ahead and take my mom to the airport.
Yeah, be safe.
Man,
too.
I wish you. Yeah, I like it. Your channel, what you post, and so guys, keep up the good work.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, and have a good day with your moms too. Blessings. All right.
All right, thank you.
Okay. All right. One. Yeah, that was Pizza Guy. And for those of you that don't know Pizza Guy, he's the guy who just gave out a bunch of memberships. So people that don't have those memberships, go in and see some of the videos that are only for members. You know, some of them, I've had a couple of videos where I just had to curse some people out, and I even lost my patience, and I'm sorry for that. You know, I'm also learning, and it's been quite a run. It's been a run. And when you deal with a lot of trolls, a lot of times the comments are blocked. So I'm the only one that might see these comments. You see what I mean? Like, everybody doesn't see all the comments. And some of the comments, I like to have the chat open, which is a good thing. But sometimes, the trolls, they will send messages, and the messages are personal attacks, just any type of attack, anything. And some of it is the crudest comments. And every once in a while, I might bug out because you want to get your hands on some of these people when they say certain things. You're not used to it, you know what I mean? And so I've had to put some of those videos on private. And I've had to apologize too a few times. But having said that, I think you will enjoy all of the videos. They're the same. They're the same. And at the end of the day, we're real people going through real hell right now with this administration. Our country is in serious trouble. So we have the right to be worried. We have the right to be stressed. We have the right to have a sense of urgency, and we have the right to be like, yo, man, if you don't get the hell out of my face with this bullshit right now, we even have the right to be pissed. You know what I'm saying? So on that note, let me see who else is going to call up. And then, oh, you here? You ready? Yo, Tay, you ready? Yeah, you understand. Okay. You want, should I give you a call right now or what? Let me know, and then I will just hit the button. But in any case, let me run some more of this Midas touch here, and let's see what they're doing here. Let's see.
Democrats are already saying, if you bring President Bill Clinton and he has to testify, we're bringing President Trump. What do you say to that?
I think they might say that, but they've already brought me. See, I've been brought. They had me indicted many times. Many times.
And the president had some surprising thoughts about former President Bill Clinton.
It bothers me that somebody's going after Bill Clinton. See, I like Bill Clinton. I still like Bill Clinton.
What do you like about him?
Notice how he changed his stance now. Now, all of a sudden that the Clintons are saying they ready to go public, they want to go public. Now he's like, I like Bill Clinton. What the heck is up with that? He likes Bill Clinton. And listen, there has been in these emails among Epstein, there has been messages about between Epstein and who else? Let me see here. Who made the comments and emails regarding Trump and Clinton and sexual pictures, something like that, right? To Putin. Right. Let me see this. Like, seriously, there's an allegation, there's an Epstein file release where one of these emails, look, the specific comments you're referring to, which have recently gone viral, originate from an email exchange between Jeffrey Epstein and his brother, Mark Epstein, his damn brother. Like, this is facts. Like, this is real. Look at this shit. This is crazy. According to the documents released from the Epstein estate and the Department of Justice in late 2025 and early 2026, the comments were made by Mark Epstein on March 18th. This is crazy. Like, this is seriously, they're emailing each other about this shit. This is extraordinary, to say the least. This is extraordinary, like, flat out. The details. The content in the email, Mark Epstein was responding to Jeffrey Epstein, who had mentioned being in contact with former Trump advisor Steve Bannon. Yes, the same Steve Bannon that keeps coming up everywhere. The one who says he wants Trump to send ICE down during the midterm elections. Yeah, this Steve Bannon, the same Steve Bannon that was interviewing Jeffrey Epstein, trying to make him look like a good guy in 2019 before he got locked up, just before he got locked up, right? that Steve Bannon, right? The Save Steve Bannon that's talking about who he orchestrated and got money to come up with these fake campaigns about anti-global, what do you call it? What is it? Environmental. What is it called? I forget the name that people use, because they call it one thing and another. Not global warming, environmental justice, saying that it's not actually a problem, that the earth is not getting more volatile, this kind of thing. He wanted to try to do fake and anti campaigns against that, to say it's made up, it's a Democrat hoax, all this shit, climate change is a Democrat hoax. Yes, they wanted people to put money, like we talking about millions and millions, $60 million of anti-climate change material American people had to listen to. And now you know who's the orchestrator behind it. It's Steve Bannon for Trump, dealing with Epstein and dealing with these same Russian figures, like the same Steve Bannon. The email, Epstein responding to Jeffrey Epstein, who had mentioned being in contact with former Trump advisor Steve Bannon. Mark, who wrote Jeffrey, asked him if Putin has the photos of Trump blowing Bubba. Like, this is in a real email. His brother is asking him this in an email. Jeffrey Epstein's brother. The nickname, because Bubba has long been a well-known nickname for Bill Clinton. The email was widely interpreted as suggesting the existence of compromising sexual imagery involving both Donald Trump and Bill Clinton. The Putin connection, the mention of Vladimir Putin in the email, fueled speculation and honey trap theories similar to the ones Rush Limbaugh and let me see something here. Rush Limbaugh. Okay. Yeah, Rush Limbaugh. What's going on? Is this my phone?
Hello?
Yeah, I got you. 2 seconds. Yeah, let me just finish this. Yeah, the mention of Vladimir Putin in the email fueled speculation and honey trap theories similar to the ones Rush Limbaugh and other commentators often discussed regarding the elite black male networks. Now, listen to Trump all of a sudden talk differently about Bill Clinton. Oh, 2 seconds. I know what just happened. Hold on. That the same thing happened. It happens when you call on WhatsApp. Let me see here. I know exactly what to do now. Boo, boo, boo. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Can the chat hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but something just checked.
I might have to do it on my computer again.
Yeah, but I think it happened on my end. You know what? Let me see something here. I think I got to change that. Wow. See, I'm still learning this part, so let me see here. If I go like this, if I do that, I think I can pull something up that will solve that problem real quick. Is it this? No, it's not that. Wow. Check 1 2. But you all they can hear me, but let me see something. Oh, I know what it is. I'm sorry. Just give me 2 seconds. Yeah, because I have to remember which one I need to change the properties in. Right. There's something just happened when you called. It changed the properties inside of the system for the video. But in any case, go ahead. You here, so let's talk. You heard him change his role as soon as they brought up Bill Clinton. Now all of a sudden he likes Bill Clinton. So what's up with that?
Well, for one, that's not the first time he does that, because I had noticed that when he was, I guess, rallying against Madani in New York, and he was like, "Oh, he's a socialist, communist, whatever," in his demonstration and everybody. But once they had met with each other, it was a whole like, "Oh, he's a good guy." You can just say, because they asked him, did he think that Donald Trump was a fascist or whatever, and then he was like, "Oh, it's okay. You don't have to hide it. You can say it." It's like, it's so weird. Like, how do you act like you have enemies, and then next thing you know, you just like kissing ass? Like, ugh. It it makes me think that like whatever's going on with those files is 100% for real.
Right, right. Yeah. It does sound like that for sure. Exactly. And yeah, I just really it's the oddest thing. It seems like okay, advanced audio properties. It seems like for some reason he's leaning back now that it comes to Trump. And I mean when it comes to Clinton and I'm curious, what do the Trump supporters think about that? You know, when he says that, when he makes that kind of comment. I wonder what they think about, you know.
I feel like I mean, a lot of people, because I look at different lives every now and then, and well, especially amongst the like older crowd, they definitely are in denial. Like they'll just, start insulting, and you'll explain whatever facts that you have, and they just either they'll block you or something strange like that. But
Okay.
people are. I feel like people are definitely some people who is acknowledging it for real. They're opening their eyes,
Right.
sorta.
Right.
And then there's others that's just like, oh no, he wouldn't do that. I'm like, come on now, y'all. And I don't know, like ever since just knowing that how many like missing people there is, like I very much question, is it a lot of it connected to the human trafficking up north and down south? Honestly, probably around the United States. Like,
Right.
that's wild.
Yeah, it is wild. I mean, it appears so. It appears so. It appears that it is. I mean, to me, it seems like it. I don't have any reason to doubt it that it's connected to it because it just seems like too many things point to it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just that simple. And there was I'm just curious about like the Russian mob and what role they play in the trafficking, because obviously you got to learn trafficking. You don't just make it up yourself. This is if there's Russians involved, they are the masters at human trafficking. That's what they do, especially sex trafficking in the United States. It's many. The Russian mob is real in the United States. And by the way, it's one of the major threats in the Western world. Like every country, when you hear security agents from different countries talk about crime, you have local crime, you have gangs, you have even the cartels, but a lot of them are worried about Russian mafia because of how they're moving. They're going after judges. They're going after judges' children, trying to get them involved in their crime. They're going after high level people, So, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like, I mean, and even that was a lot of things that we had like thought already was called conspiracies really coming out. Like as far as, like I guess the Russians trying to infiltrate the United States. I'm like, I'm not really surprised because we have our president that, at one point is like, oh, he needs to get this stuff together. Then next thing you know, he's like, nothing's happening. There's no resolution to whatever. It's just carrying on. And a lot of Trump's like previous, I guess, activities, he was in Russia. So you can only think that, okay,
Right. He was in
is
Russia.
yeah, like come on now.
Right.
Is our president some sort of, falsy? Like,
He was in
yeah,
Russia, so why is it hard to believe he would be doing some shit with the Russians?
exactly. And it's affecting America. I mean, it's kind of why a lot of it, the politics is resemblance to like Russian politics and things like that, because they're trying to align the mission in America. Hello.
Right, exactly, and it's having some effects. People can see it, and it's giving some dividends.
Yeah.
It's paying off. It's paying off. So
Too quickly.
yeah, it is. Yeah. In any case, yeah, that is so weird. But yo, what? Let me ask you something. You're in Germany, right? What's the news like in Germany? Are you hearing anything else on the local news, or you You're not reading German yet, because you've only been in Germany how many months?
Like since last April, a couple months. And
Okay.
then soon
Okay.
I'll be leaving. So, but what I have seen is definitely they were reporting, and like I told you that it's not as censored. Like what you see in America is definitely different than what you see in the like UK, Germany, whatever, wherever you are that's in Europe, it is completely different. Like you're gonna see more things that you probably wouldn't see on the American side as far as like either like Epstein files or it's out there, I can say.
Right. It's out there.
Yeah, for sure. And people, I don't know how, I mean, get a VPN or something and try to view their media from the VPN so you can really see like true America. That's my tip because I got a VPN. So yeah.
Okay.
But
Okay.
also I'm in Europe as well.
Okay. Okay. Okay, you're in Europe as well. Okay, okay, yeah, exactly. So you see, yeah, you got to use a VPN. All right, I was just curious if they had any, if there was any difference in what you were hearing in the German news about Trump. You know? Yeah. Okay.
There's no difference, but it's definitely more info than just said info that I guess because America has a tendency to like I hate to say it this way, but like Disney-fy info and like you know so you have to really search for the deeper dives yourself
Okay.
and the information you want to know.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. What's up with this audio? All of a sudden, you know what? That happened the last time you called in. The audio went funny, but I can hear you fine. But now it's Trump I can't hear fine. That's so weird, right? So I need to figure out what that's about. But in any case, yeah, I appreciate you hopping up again, and yeah, and then we're gonna continue this conversation soon. And in fact, it's gonna be, what is it? It's gonna be 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, USA or America time. The next stream, so I'm gonna be ready. I just got to work out a few of these quirks, but I appreciate you hopping up.
Of course.
Thanks a lot.
Anytime.
Yeah,
Thanks y'all.
yeah,
Thank you.
no doubt, no doubt. We're gonna wrap soon. Yo, everybody, listen. Now I got to look at some of these settings to make sure everything is working smooth. But I appreciate everybody that came out today and has been coming out the last year. You know what I mean? I got like, I don't know, something like in the last 6 months, I think I got 1,000 subscribers a month just from the lives, so I appreciate that so much, all the support. Let me see. I maybe I got like, I'm averaging something like 800,000 to 1 million streams a month. So I appreciate that. A lot of people are chiming in on the streams, and so I appreciate all the support. If you've never subscribed and you hear this video later, subscribe. Click like on the video. It helps. I'm here. I'm living in Copenhagen, Denmark, but I'm an American citizen. I'm born and raised in Washington, D.C. My parents on both sides go back to the colonial period in the U.S. So me living outside, I have all the benefits that everyone that lives outside of the U.S. has: healthcare, access to education, access to training, access to whatever certifications you want, vocational education you want, whenever you want it. And in the U.S., this seems like something we just don't seem to be able to get to our people, even though we have way more funds, way more money. You know what I'm saying? And per person, we pay way more for the health care we don't have in the U.S. through the tax system. Folks are paying, subsidized. Even the people that don't get access to health care are subsidizing it. It just doesn't make any sense, and it is by design. It's like so many of the things about it is design. Why is our food less healthier? Why is our air dirtier? Why is it that we're having less access to childcare? Why is it that healthcare? I mean, healthcare is a big thing, to be able to go to the doctor and tell the doctor, hey, man, you have an infection. Hey, and stop something early on before it turns into something huge and you got to have $100,000 operation. What about that? You know, we're missing so much in the U.S. I mean, it's a damn shame. Campaign reform. I mean, it turns out that you got to have $1 billion to run for the presidency. How is the average person going to do that? You know, anyone should be able to run for the president. But yet, if you don't have $1 billion, you won't. Why is that? So that means that the odds are really against the average person, the average American. The odds in the U.S. are literally against the middle class and the poor. And the odds shouldn't be. There's nothing about a society that says if the odds are against the middle class and poor, that makes it good. No, it's the exact opposite. The odds are supposed to be for the middle class and the poor, that they can have at least a fair chance at anything that the society has to offer. You see what I mean? That's what fair is. And for some reason, we like to fight that in the U.S. But in any case, in the future, you can always go to Facebook /VMedia. That's VMEEDIA. And you will get my Facebook page. Leave a message in there. That's how you contact me. You can leave your WhatsApp number in it if you want to hop up on the live in the future. Otherwise, you can go to the distro link up here and it will be operating. That way I can get a lot more people on the ground telling me their stories and what things were like today. Like Pizza Guy hopped up and told me what's going on in Georgia right now. So I appreciate that a lot. Hopefully we're going to get who else was it? Somebody called in from Arizona, I think, or was it New Mexico the other day? Who was it? Damn, I forgot who it was. But now that we got it going, we're going to have a lot more live call-ins. So I appreciate that, everybody. Have a good evening. So I'm going to be out. Have a good evening. Have a good day. Have a good night. Have a good morning, no matter where you are. I appreciate you. And we will be back in about 12 hours from now. I appreciate everybody. All right. See y'all later, y'all. Let's go. Impeach Trump. Fuck Trump. Get out of town, Trump. And let's get the Supreme Court justices that are corrupt out of there too. Let's get all the corruption out. You know what I'm saying? Out of the Congress, out of the Supreme Court, out of the Senate. Get fuck Elon Musk. Peace, y'all.
I know how to see a whack MC when he bustin', but I just back away real cool, no fussin'. I'd rather go kicking in the streets with the bums and use the knowledge to collect some funds. Open a non-profit and build a damn school. And this is the story of how a great king rules. There's many that claim to know the local demographic, but don't have the nerve to tell you the truth. It's tragic, but I do. So sit back and let me spit this shit to you. You feel better when I spit this shit to you. Despite the system trying to clamp down on the people will learn how to stand up to evil. Not evil that's across the globe, that's too far, but evil that lies in their own backyard. And fighting, it's not an option, they can't win. The government, it's not supposed to represent sin, but then again they do, and that's a problem. So let's go down and figure out how to solve them. It's not fun being a rapper that can't speak, but we do, yes, and plus we make fat beats. Yo, we smoke weed, break up trees. Listen, bringing fat beats, that is our mission. You wanted to see us, homeboy, shut up and listen. Thelonious and Big Bennett, brother, check the vision. Mentalities, several different realities. Enter the Star Trek room when you hear the boom. I be the Walkman with the super bass. Automatic stop, yes, stereo cassette player. With the delayer, freaky lyrical sprayer. Extraterrestrial rhyme sayer. I be the poetical VIC/master of the ceremony. Testimony, won't you come step with me? I'm on a historical journey. Kinda like Sigourney. Implore me to represent the attorney that represents my niggas. Go figure, it's the card. They call me Uncle Bigger. Niggas love your blunts, down your liquors. I read the parallel to the fiction. You're fixated on this brother's nature. Relaxed behavior, I might save your change. Flip it, rearrange the whole concept. Yo, it's good for all your brain. Insane, psychotic, neurotic, black onyx. harmonics, and hooked on phonics, just atomic. Beats like a bonnet, cut with the Asiatic, they all up on it. Rhyme static with the bombastic type of skill. You wonder, is this nigga Vic really for real? It's still, but only necessary in the berry. I'm milk like dairy, they quite contrary. That's scary, but I'm a dog in a prairie. I scurry to grab my bones and just bury. Lyrical flurry, go get your secretary with impeccable dictions. My style might vary, so get a hold of your own shit real fast. Fucking with us, we take it right out your ass. Prairie dogs chill while those other dogs howl. Too many dogs get sent to the pound. Back on the hill, me and my peeps just lounge. Prairie dogs, we keep it on the down. Splatter, don't like gun splatter. We try to climb the ladder, wicked men get better. They make it like splatter, but it really don't matter. Cause you know we coming back to our sons and our daughters. So follow him, the one who protects ya. And the mother, she will never neglect ya. Through divine nature, the people respect ya. And in this way I deliver my lecture.